Obviously, very happy with our boys' performance. We've been under the pump the last 5 weeks, losing 5 in a row, and there's no doubt that our performance last week particularly wasn't good enough. I think over that last 5 weeks, we'd had some reasonable performances, but particularly last week, that second quarter was really disappointing. So for the guys to bounce back, I think is a great credit to the character of the players. They played some really good football. I think we've got a lot of room for improvement still. But particularly for our members and supporters, it just gives them something to hold on to for the year. And it's really important when your supporters and members support you the way ours have, and 50,000 members, and keep coming to games. So I'm happy for them for that sake.
How big an impact on the game did the ability to have a lot of inside information about Geelong? How much of an impact did sort of the Bomber and McCartney factor have on the game?
Oh, huge. I mean, look, I think what's been lost in a lot of Bomber and Macca coming to Essendon is how much of an impact Bomber and Macca had on those players and all those players. And there's no doubt, I'm not taking anything away from Chris Scott. He's been a fantastic coach and won all the games he's won. But you look at those players play, and it's just amazing the way the Geelong players play. And I think Bomber particularly and Macca should get a lot more credit than probably what they're getting at the moment for how they've developed this team over the last 5 years and how good Geelong is. So there was a little bit of Geelong in us tonight, in the way that they've been coached, and and you've got to say it's a good thing because they're a great side, and we're hoping to be a good side. No, it's just not so much tactically. Like, I think tactically we played the way, for us it's about how we want to play, because we're a developing team. We have to continue to develop the way our game style is played, and it's really important that we do that so we get better rather than reactive. But what those two guys have brought is the ability to position yourself, win the contested football, and just the basics that they teach, and you can see come out in the Geelong players week in, week out, and that's why they're such good coaches, those two. And I don't think it was even about Essendon beating Geelong for us tonight, or Bomber being part of that. It was just to see how our players have developed over 9 months. Along the way they've been coached, and a lot of Bomber and Macca have come out in the way they played tonight.
How proud were you when the margin got back to 4 points, and you could tell the Bomber supporters were thinking, had that sinking feeling that you were going to get rolled, that the boys then stood up?
Well, the ability to come back, and when you're getting pressured, I think Geelong might have kicked the first 3 goals of the night even, and to be able to stay in the game and stay in the moment was really important, which we didn't do last week against Hawthorn. Once Hawthorn got a roll on us last week, we weren't able to get ourselves back in the game. So to come back from 3 goals down, then they came back to us in the third quarter, and then to come to hold on when they came back at us in the last quarter, just shows a little bit of sign of maturity. We've got a long way to go. We've got a lot of young players, but the maturity to hang on was really pleasing.
It's probably a shock for a lot of people to see Hurley in the back line, but he did a fair job.
Yep, Michael Hurley is one of those people you'd love to play footy with as a coach. You'd love to have him as your teammate, and I'm very glad he plays for us, because terrific person, very good talent, and he's going to be a very good footballer for us for a very long time. And tonight, he along with Fletch and along with Pearsie and Mark McVeigh and a number of others, did a great job in the back line.
Not just him, also the kids, mate. Heppel, Melksham, Howlett, Hibbert were just terrific.
Yeah, they were terrific, and that's what Essendon supporters got to look forward to. They've got some really good kids to look forward to. But the thing with kids is they have periods they play really well, and then over the last 4 or 5 weeks they haven't played as well. So we've got to be patient with our players, and patient, and you can, don't want to backtrack, but there's been a number of stuff written about our seasons falling off the edge, we've gone too hard. The fact of the matter is we've got young players, and they're developing, and they're getting better, but they'll have down weeks, they'll have up weeks, and tonight was a really good sign of where we're going as a footy club, but we've got so much work to do. We are a long way from where we want to be.
I was fascinated with the tactic of Welsh on Scarlett early on. Update on his hammy, was it a bad one?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to the doctors, but he'll miss at least 2 weeks and probably 3. Normally hamstrings are 3 weeks, so really disappointing for Andrew, because he started really well. He's missed a lot of football with soft tissue injuries this year. But, he can still play football, Andrew, and, we'll be looking forward to having him back in the side when he's fit.
James, given even the younger players, obviously we go up and down a bit, what was the difference this week from previous weeks? What was the intensity there, and they play so well?
Yeah, well, I think they I think that last week we played a good football team who was red hot, and we didn't handle when they got a couple of goals in front of us, and we didn't handle Hawthorn having numbers behind the ball. So tactically we need to work on that this week and work out how we're going to stop it. 2 6-day breaks coming off a Perth week, young players don't handle well, but also the length of the season for young guys too. If you talk about Heppel, Howlett, Zaharak's his 3rd year, but Melksham, they're all second-year players, so they've only been in the system for 18 months. It's not a long time. So there are different reasons why they haven't played well all the time, but tonight was about an 8-day break, freshen them up, wanting to play well, and they came out and did play well.
Also played keepings off.
What's
seemed
that?
to play a lot of keepings off, a lot of possession. Was that to combat?
Well, when you have a couple of players behind the ball,
Yep.
you need to hold on to the ball and use your numbers,
Which you didn't do last week, obviously.
which we
Yep.
didn't do last week, no, and we paid dearly for it.
Yep.
Overall, with that matchup, like Scarlett's keeping the count.
Matthew Scarlett's one of the greatest players that I've ever seen play football, and he's just so important for their team. So, I think I don't think we even did a reasonable job on him, because every time he was in a contest he did pretty well. But fortunately for us, he didn't have the involvement in their usage of the ball that he has had the last few weeks. But yeah, I think it was important for Andrew Welsh to get his hands on the ball. But yeah, Matthew Scarlett, there's so much respect for him at Essendon and the way he plays his footy.
Just with the young side, do you feel you're going to have a yo-yo season because they're developing this?
Oh, I certainly hope not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're going to get. But what I do know is that the players, although you might not have seen it over the last 5 weeks, are getting better and better and better and better. And they're getting more resilient, and they're learning about AFL football every week. And you might not see that on the football field every week, but we see it on the training track, and we see the way that they do drills better than, or the way they handle training better than they did 6 months ago. And I don't know where this season will end up, and I don't think I've ever said from the start of the year to now we haven't put any limits or any, I suppose, where we're going to finish. I haven't talked about it. But what we are going to do is develop these players so that when we do get an opportunity and when they're the right age, we get a team that is capable of going somewhere. And that'll be in a year or two, but at the moment we're very happy with tonight and very pleased that our supporters can go home and sing the song and be proud to be Essendon supporters again.